Chairman Bouchon, Chairman Massey, and honorable subcommittee members. My name is David Prevatt. I am here to advocate on behalf of the American people for the creation of a wind hazard resilient communities within the next 10 years. I believe the reason we don't have this already is that no one has been bold enough or committed enough to demand it. I wish to add the support of the American Society of Civil Engineers and the American Association for Wind Engineering and my own support for H.R. 1786. These organizations have been working for the past 10 years since Congressman Randy Nogabawa of Texas first proposed this legislation. We also support the transfer of leadership to the National Institute of Standards and Technology. Since Professor Fujita first published his Fujita Scale in 1971 and his report on the Lubbock tornado, our populations in the tornado alley has grown 50%. What does that mean? We have more schools, we have more hospitals, commercial spaces, and certainly a lot more houses. It's not complicated. There are today more objects in harm's way than there were before. Also, since 1970s as well, NOAA and the National Severe Storms Laboratory has invested heavily in weather infrastructure, over $167 million over the last 10 years, in better research to predict unstable weather, in providing warnings of tornadoes, in more equipment, forecasting products. The public is aware of this and confident in its use. And private sector has stepped up to mine it. We can get forecasting information on our smartphones. It's not complicated. Longer lead times before tornado strikes reduce loss of life. In parallel, the 1970 Texas Tech University wind engineering faculty, they initiated the first building damage studies after the Lubbock tornado, documented problems with houses, how they are made. Modern houses still have those problems. Houses have smaller nails, fewer nails than they once were in the 1940s. Connections are inadequate. They cannot resist tornado loads. Houses are insufficiently anchored to the foundations and they rack very easily. There are no vertical load paths in the houses built in Tornado Alley, and I can attest I was there in Moore, Oklahoma 2 weeks ago. It's not complicated. The result is more houses, more poorly built houses, and more property lost and disruption of our communities. Tornadoes now, damage has increased 2.5 times since the 1970 Lubbock tornado. So my message today is not complicated. It's simply to tell our representatives that the people of the United States want to live in tornado-resilient communities. They also deserve to live there without fear. A tornado-resilient community is one where all schools have shelters, or at least safer spaces that afford some protection to our children. That our hospitals and emergency buildings are all hardened against tornadoes, wind hazards, and earthquakes. That our houses are built so that fewer will be completely destroyed, destroying the lives, and some will be repairable after a tornado. Civil infrastructure are designed for tornadoes, and that the private sector has the research backing to work to economically develop affordable and weather-resilient houses. Really, it's not complicated. The wind engineering and structural engineering communities stand ready to begin this work. We have been ready for 10 years. And with your support, we can begin this task to provide for our people. To get there, please support H.R. 1786, authorize its funding, and sustain support for the wind engineering and structural engineering communities for our houses. Let's mobilize communities. leaders to upgrade their building codes and include a vertical load path provisions in all buildings, Support our research community to work with innovative private sector companies to design buildings and build resilient and sustainable 21st century houses. It can be done. Advance the wind and structural engineering research program. Support your faculty that will provide these solutions to these existing problems. Honorable members, it really isn't complicated. Thank you.